Greetings. Quickly before we start, I want to say this video is going to be a bit shorter, and I'm trying new things. If you like the videos to be shorter, tell me in my Discord or in the comments. Other than that, let's begin on this very interesting topic. When you see a picture of Hitler, what goes through your mind? What do you think? Does the mind come up with the hot topic words like racist, Nazi, conquest, emo haircuts? All of these are right, but I bet you don't think of Adolf Hitler being blitzed when the vitamin gummies kick in. Most people do not know what I'm referring to, because this is not really a established concept. There's a theory out there that Adolf Hitler was a coke addict, including meth. No, not that kind of coke. This kind of coke. By the way, I'd like to note that I'm going to give you the theory, just how it basically is, a quick little summary of it, and then I'm going to give you my opinion on this, because this is a more gray area of history. How did the story go? In the 1930s, a Telmer company based in Berlin came out with a new drug, we know today basically as crystal meth. For many years it was sold in the public market and it became a highly used commercial drug. In 1938, a professor named Otto Ranke began testing his new medicine on Berlin medical personnel, and he came to this conclusion. This should be distributed out to the entire army because of its energizing properties. So that's what they did, and in the beginning of World War II, it was distributed to the Western Front, and some people believe that it was a key factor on how they were able to blitz through France and Belgium so quickly. Yeah. Back to Hitler, the man propagated as a vegan, a health freak, the guru, the pure Aryan himself, would not drink, would not smoke, did not eat meat. He thought, I'm the model of Aryanism, so I need to keep myself healthy for the image. So, that's what he did. He met a doctor named Theodor Morell. He was famed for his vitamin injections and his unique practices in medicine. Hitler came just for the vitamin injections alone. It was all going well. Hitler was always healthy. Hitler then became a regular patient of Morell, and then one day it happened. Hitler got the flu. And everyone was panicking. It was like, dear Lord, what are we gonna do? Because like the Assyrian army, if one battle is lost, the entire nation collapses. If Adolf Hitler doesn't show up, well, God, who knows what's gonna happen. What I mean by this is that Hitler was known to be a very punctual person. He was there when he was needed, he was always in his staff meetings, and he was always the picture of health. But this was a really bad flu, and they didn't know if he was gonna get back up or not. In response, he went and had his now personal doctor, Morell, come and give him an injection. Now, Morell, looking to find a cure, decided he's going to try a little more of a non-vitamin based thing. What he did is he gave him an injection of an opiate, and after that injection, Hitler was miraculously cured apparently. He was in good health mentally, it appeared. He was back to his charismatic self, and he was able to attend the meeting. So now, the man who had been sick and dying, Mr. I have a fever of 101, has showed up, and he's bright and happy, ready to talk about how the Russians are closing in on the German Empire. Of course, the war continued and continued on, and he needed heavier and heavier dosages. The theory continues to go that basically people started to notice that he was beginning to become addicted, and himself noticed that he was beginning to become addicted. He fought back, not very hard, and basically had been a coke addict for the last half of the war. Then when the German Reich began to really lose, there was a cocaine and meth shortage, because their main import came from Peru, according to the theory. And so all this cocaine was now being blockaded by the Allies. So just like the paper shortage, there was a drug shortage. So Hitler became more and more desperate. He had people go out search for him. Some odd decisions were made. and he even fired Morale because Morale couldn't bring any more opiates to him. So that's what we got. Eventually, he had such bad withdrawals that he had onset of depression. Of course, you know, as the Russians were like right on the other side of the river, and he shot himself in his bunker. In the end. Now, does this hold up? No, not quite. So I'm going to say that it could be legitimate. I'm not going to say that it cannot be legitimate. But personally, I'm going to have to highly doubt this. Why? Well, it's all about credible sources. So I want you to guess which one of these were used in this video. BBC, Vox, New York Times, The Times, Rolling Stones, The Guardian, New York Post, and all that's interesting. And oh, don't let us not forget the History Channel. Now, go and take a guess. Which one do you think it was? Was it the History Channel, which is always the best source of historical information now, or BBC? Which one? If you guessed all of them, then you're correct. I did use all these sources, and they do not sound like legitimate sources for history, and I wouldn't really consider them, especially the History Channel. Oh, the History Channel. What a good time we used to have.
So this suggests the possibility that certain words do, in a sense, become imbued with a force. That force may be something that certain types of extraterrestrial or extra-dimensional.
I wish I found some better sounds no one's ever heard. I wish I had a better voice that sang some better words. I wish I found some chords in an order that is new. I wish I didn't have to rhyme every time I sang. I was told when I get older all my fears would shrink, but now I'm insecure and I care what people think. My name's blurry face and I care what you think. My name's blurry face and I care what you think. Wish we could turn back time.
Coming up, David meets
to the
Goliath
good old
on the high seas as the English
when the
fleet takes
mama
on
sang
Spanish
us to
armada.
sleep, but now we're stressed out. Wish we could turn back time to the good old days when the mama sang us to sleep, but now we're stressed
King
out.
Philip II's massive Spanish armada enters the English Channel, bent on
stressed
sacking London and toppling Queen Elizabeth. There's nothing to stop him, except just watching.
Sometimes a certain smell will take me back to when I was young. How come I'm never able to identify
The
where
only
it's
thing
coming
standing
from?
between
I make a
England
candle
and
out of it
imminent
if I
destruction
ever
is a
try to sell
ragtag
it.
navy, led by a dashing pirate, Sir Francis Drake.
I bring this up because there's one thing that ties all these sources together. All of their sources were the exact same source. In fact, there's only one source that they all used, and it's the only source that the common person can get to, besides like going and looking at, say, the journal from a doctor in 1938. Now, I could take these articles with some credibility, even with them having only one source, but that source needs to be a legitimate source created by someone who at least works in the field. And the creator of this book is, not really up to the standards. The author is Norman O'Hell, and his background is not really history focused. He's a journalist, which I mean doesn't make it that he can't have history-based content, but when a journalist whose only books are random fiction novels like Pawnee City, where some girl moves around from place to place in something called a white society's architectural, which is basically just making a political book, and then Die Quotum Machine, some kind of German book, and I couldn't really find anything about this book, except that it involves hypertext and it's a fiction book. It has only 2 reviews, one in Spanish and one that sounds like a robot. And then there's Mitty, and I can't find this book anywhere, except on his Wikipedia page, so qualifications are getting kind of slim. So now that he all of a sudden brings up something that would be an endeavor that would take a historian years, possibly a decade, to make, looking through all this new evidence that hasn't been reviewed like this before, it just kind of brings its credibility up into question. So, this is kind of a gray area in history, where you have something that could have happened, but it just probably didn't, and you can't really have a good, solid proof that he did. So, did it happen? I personally don't think so, but this was made for you all to decide. I might do more of these videos where it's kind of not completely known. It's not something solid like the Roman Empire broke apart in this time period, but it's something interesting that I hope you'd like. So, if you enjoyed it, join the Discord, subscribe, all that other stuff people always ask. But really just kind of tell me what you liked about it down below. I'm trying to find a good style that suits everybody. Thank you.